right, guys, what's up? It's Alan, it's MH Properties. We're back with another video. Super happy to be bringing this one to you today. Today's a special day, guys. Today, I'm going to talk about a subject that everyone, when they get on a channel like this, when viewers start watching a channel like this is the stuff that everyone wants to kind of see. We're going to talk today about entrepreneurship and how you can kind of turn a part-time hustle into your full-time career, like what I did. I was not always in real estate. I worked a regular 9-to-5 job for years. I started a business on the side, and that business grew to the point where I made the decision to pursue it full-time, and now I run a real estate management consulting company, and I use zero money from anyone else. And at the time that I started, I only had one house, the house that I lived in, and I did not own other rental properties. Obviously, I bought some later, but I'm telling this to you because I know that you can do it. You can have no rental properties, and you can make money in real estate on the side, and you can turn a side hustle into your full-time hustle. But before we get into that, I need you guys, don't be weird, subscribe to the channel, like the video, comment below things that you want to hear, or if you have questions about this video or kind of like my journey that I'll briefly share with you, hit me with them, man. I'll answer them. I'll answer it in the comments. We'll make another video about it. But like, comment, subscribe. It really helps out the channel. And let's get into it. All right, guys. So look, the two things I want to talk about today are side hustles that you can get into that involve you making money off of rental properties or off of real estate without owning real estate, okay? So you haven't bought any rental properties, you maybe don't have the money to buy rental properties, but you want to get into the business and maybe give yourself a chance down the road to own rental properties. And definitely these are two ways, the best ways in the industry to do it. The first one is called wholesaling. When you're wholesaling properties, you are essentially coordinating a transaction between a buyer and a seller that otherwise would not have been connected to each other, and you're making money by doing it. Now it sounds I know it sounds like there's not much money to be made there, but I know people in our market in Baltimore that make an entire living off of doing this. Let me explain the basics of how it works, and then we'll just take it from there. So let's say there's a house for sale. It's usually a rental property or an investment property that you're either going to buy and fix up and rent, or you want to flip it. We'll call it property A, and property A is for sale for $50,000. You have found that property, and essentially you go and you get under contract with that seller, and you say, hey, I'm interested in buying your property. I will pay you $50,000, or maybe you negotiate. Maybe you negotiate down a little bit, maybe you pay less, but in general, let's just make it $50,000. So you pay $50,000. So you enter into a contract, you sign the agreement, right, as if you're gonna buy the property. Then when you get under contract, before the closing occurs, you line up a buyer who are looking for properties like that to buy the property, okay? And you basically convey that contract to them and have them be the one who ends up purchasing it. This is called an assignment. When you assign the contract, you are essentially taking a risk by putting it under contract, but capitalizing on that risk because you've now brought someone in to buy the property for a larger amount. So if it was for sale for $50,000, you tell this person, the buyer who you say, hey, I know a rental property, I have a rental property for sale for $60,000, and it will rent for $1,000 a month. And the buyer says, oh man, great, where's the property? And you say, I have the property. You line up a closing, you assign the contract from the seller. The seller's happy because they're getting paid $50,000. The buyer's happy because you've advertised it as 60. You know they're going to pay 60. They've accepted that they'll pay that amount. They meet at closing, and the deal gets done, and you are left with a gross amount of $10,000. Now there are transfer taxes and other things that come out that made it get negotiated that bring that balance down. However, you are making something like that kind of money, and every deal is different. Maybe you only make $1,000 on one, maybe you make $3,000 on another, but I know people who do this exclusively, and they build up a pool of buyers, right? By just rubbing shoulders with people, by getting out there, by getting on investment groups and in Facebook, and they're grinding it out. They're finding sellers who are selling properties, they're buying buyers who are buying properties, and they're coordinating those closings just back to back to back. And you never are owning any real estate. I have seen this side hustle literally get turned into a full-time job. The best thing about it is you can do it on your computer. You can do it from anywhere. You can do it from your phone. You can call people, text people, go online, look things up on your phone. You don't have to have an office. You don't have to have other employees. Another thing that's great about this business is you don't have any inventory. You're selling a service or you're selling a product, which is a house, but you don't have any inventory. You don't have a storefront. You don't have anything to pay for. From an entrepreneurial mindset, if you're trying to hustle on the side to make extra money to build a business, this is a great way to do it. Now, I'm telling you it's great, and now I'm telling you that I don't do it. I don't personally do this business. And the reason is because I don't have the time to do it. I have picked another avenue to go down to make money, which is the next one we're going to talk about now. So the second hustle that you can do without owning any real estate and but it has to do with managing or having rental properties is property management. Okay, now this is a business that is a multi-billion-dollar business worldwide, and the basic point is that there are lots of people out there who have rental properties, particularly in cities like in my city, Baltimore, and in my state, Maryland, but in every state that own rental property, but they do not have the time to manage it, or they don't have the knowledge to stay up to date on all the rules that you have to follow in order to properly manage a property. This leaves a need for someone who does have that ability to coordinate that stuff for them, and in exchange, they pay a fee every month in order for you to give your service to them. So this is the business that I specialize in. I specialize in property management, residential, commercial. My company does condo associations, HOA association management. We're a consulting company, but I didn't start out this way. I didn't get here overnight. I started with one property that someone asked me to manage for them, and here's how it goes. Basically, someone wants to rent out a property. So basically what you do is you plug in with an owner who needs to rent out a property, manage the property, and you advertise it for them. You will write a contract that you will advertise a property for them. You'll go and show it. You will, when someone comes and they're interested in it and they say, hey, I want to rent this property, you have to find out how to properly screen that person to verify that their income and credit is good, so that they will pay the rent so you don't have a problem. You have to figure out that. Then you have to learn how to write a lease for that person. Then when they start to pay rent, they're going to pay rent to you or your company, right? You collect the rent. You make sure that there's no maintenance going on with the house and there's nothing wrong in the house. If there's something wrong, you fix it. Then around the middle of the month, you pay that owner their rent, either by direct deposit or a check or some means, and you pay that to them minus your property management fee, which is usually a percentage of the rent. In many states, it's something like 10%, 8%, I don't know. In every state, in every city, it's different. And it depends on the type of real estate too, which is like a huge factor. But in any event, you keep your fee back, you send them the rest, and now you've just made $180, $150, almost $200 for managing that rental that month, okay? Now, that doesn't sound like a lot of money, and it's okay. It's not a lot, but it's okay. So the point is, when you get 2, when you get 3, when you get 4, when you get 20, 30, 50, 100 properties going, then it starts to become a serious business, right? And you have to make sure you're doing everything right, which we're going to talk about in just a minute. But assuming that you are, you can make a side hustle with no overhead, a side hustle business into a full-time income with a property management company. And that second business, which I just described to you, that's the business that we do. So we don't do the wholesaling business just because our time is completely taken up taking care of our clients that we have that are that own properties that we're managing. So guys, there's a couple things about this business or these businesses that are very important for you to know, that I want to make sure that I'm conveying this information to you. Number one, you have to make sure when you're handling money for anyone else's money, that you are following all the state and federal laws for doing that. Where you live, there might be a license required, or that you might need to obtain some kind of collections license or some kind of other business license, and I don't know what that is for you. So what I'm saying is, you should not go out and just start doing it until you have a full understanding of what's required, and then you get that stuff in place, and then you start your business from the ground up, one client at a time. But big deal, guys. Make sure you are following all of your municipal, city, state, and federal laws with regards to how you would be collecting or handling other people's money or their property. That's number one. Number two, make sure that you are active in real estate groups so that you are rubbing shoulders with people who might need that service, right? So it's great to say, it's great to put on a hat one day and say, hey, I'm a property manager, but how do you get the clients? When I started, there were a lot less Facebook groups and things around online years ago. It had not picked up how it is now. You can go on Facebook and get on a Facebook group of investors in your area, and there are tons of people who will be looking for property management. You can also make a Facebook and advertise that you're open for business, and you can do it on Instagram. You can make a website. There are tons of ways to do it, and it will be slow going, but that's the beauty of a business like this, is that you will, in most cases, work a regular job, make sure your bills are paid with your regular job, your 9 to 5, and then on the side, build a business that is not going to drown you overnight, but that you can slowly learn and smooth yourself out and keep improving as you take on more clients. And then by the time you get 10, 11, 12 people that you're doing work for, you have a good understanding of the process that you're managing with, and you will make less mistakes. If you grow slow, you will do a better job for your clients if you grow slow. That's not to say at some point you become experienced and want to scale faster, and that's a whole different subject. But it's a good thing to grow slow and organically, especially if you're doing it part-time and you still have another job. You want to make sure you still do a good job at your other job. You want to make sure you do a good job at this side hustle. But I'm telling you from personal experience that this business is one that can grow from a side hustle into a full-fledged business. Now, another thing that is really important for a property management business is you have to use a property management software. You have to use a software on your computer that is able to document like the rents that you're collecting, is able to document when people have a problem, a maintenance issue. You have to document at the end of the year how much a client of yours has made and how much you've made, because the IRS is going to want to know about it. And you just can't do it in the beginning with 1 or 2 clients. Maybe you can handle it by keeping good records on an Excel sheet or something. But in the end, it is not up for debate. You must use a property management software. You can Google various different ones. I'm not going to endorse, I use one, obviously, in my business. I'm not going to endorse them because they're not paying me. But you can Google and find a software, and my suggestion is that you find one that has the highest average consumer rating and a lot of users, and request a tutorial, and actually a good software will actually help teach you the business too. It'll help you teach you a workflow on how to handle properties throughout the month, the way that you should be handling things. So those are my 3 big disclaimers about when you want to start a business, a real estate management business, or a real estate investing business where you're not actually owning property, but you're making money off of property. Those are my big disclaimers about doing that. Make sure you're following the law completely. Talk to an attorney or an accountant in your area to understand that better. Make sure you're being active in groups where you can run into people in the business that might need your help. And make sure you're using proper software, or from a broader point of view, make sure you're using the proper tools to get the job done right, so you can do a good job for your clients. And guys, reach out to us with questions. Hit me with comments. Ask me questions about it. There's plenty of fish in this sea. There's enough for everybody. So I'll answer everything to the best of my ability. I would love to see someone else work in their 9-to-5 job, quit their 9-to-5 job because they built a business as a side hustle in real estate management or wholesaling. I would love to see those success stories. So guys, get out there, take action. Don't wait. Do it yesterday. Do it today. Don't wait until tomorrow. Become a real estate investor. Become a side hustler who turned your side hustle into a main income, and get after it. And leave us comments in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel. Give us a thumbs up, and we'll keep the videos coming. And we'll see you in the next video next week.